Let's call the city council meeting to order, Monday, April 12th, 7 p.m. Roll call.
David Paradise.
Nicole Andrioff.
Kirby Moyna.
Tom Marslick.
Sam Solars.
Jessica Bonniwell.
Sam Ketchum.
Daniel Elder.
Jared Vogie.
Wayne McCormick.
Invocation. Is Pastor Ryan here? Yep.
There he is, right in front. You can see him there.
Let us pray. Lord God, our Heavenly Father, in a day and time where common sense is a whole lot less common, we thank you, Lord, that we are not alone in our foolishness, that you offer to those who ask a wisdom that is far greater than anything that we could ever get on our own. Your word tells us in Proverbs 3 that we are to trust in you with all of our heart and not lean on our own understanding. In all of our ways, we are to acknowledge you, and you will make our paths straight. And so we do that here tonight, Lord. We acknowledge you as the fountain and source of all wisdom and everything good. And we ask you that you would impart to these elected officials of ours a wisdom that is far greater, that they might serve their constituents with wisdom and with honor, and most importantly, that your Son, Jesus Christ, might be glorified in our midst. And it's in his name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, need an approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I will second.
Further discussion on the agenda? David.
Aye.
Nicole.
Aye.
Sam.
Aye.
Tom.
Aye.
I'll vote yes. Motion passes 5-0. Approval of the consent agenda. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Further discussion on the approval of the consent agenda? Tom.
Aye.
Sam.
Aye.
Nicole.
Aye.
David.
Aye.
And I'll vote yes. Motion passes 5-0. 2020 audit report.
Good evening. Andy Berg with Abdoy Myers. I'm here to give a summary of the audit results. So the end result of our audit is we issue an opinion on your financial statements. We issued an unmodified opinion or clean opinion. This year, due to the dollar amount of federal funds that you guys expended, we also did what's called a single audit and a clean opinion there too. As part of that, we also issue a report on Minnesota legal compliance where we test for 7 different areas, a clean report with Minnesota legal compliance too. Earlier in our work session, we did cover all the financial information, looking at trends in comparison to other cities. So I'd be happy to take any further questions or comments that you may have.
I think we're good. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
We need a motion.
Need a motion to accept the auditor's report.
How does our increase in taxes compare to the nearest other cities like Waverly, Howard Lake, Delano for the 2020 fiscal year?
I don't know that, I don't have the specifics of those cities, but I know that we do include a key performance indicator looking at the tax rates to other cities within Wright County and also other cities and similar-sized populations throughout the state, and your tax rate is lower and has slightly decreased over the last 4 years. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve the 2020 audit report.
I will second.
Further discussion on the audit report? David?
Aye.
Nicole?
Aye.
I'll vote yes. Tom?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Open forum, Michelle Otto.
All right, good evening, guys. I just have a question about our culvert and our pond in the backyard. It was brought up last year and a couple other times, a couple previous, actually throughout the years. The culvert is pretty much destroyed, and we talked about getting it fixed. And now with all the rain and everything, the whole pond is filled with garbage and trash. So who is responsible for taking care of that? Well, it's coming from the drainage that's coming in throughout, you know, with all the rain and everything that's coming. So the question is, the culvert, you know, is
The end is bad, which is gonna be fixed.
right. So I'm asking when, because my neighbors were here twice last year and it kept getting put off and put off. So now I'm gonna ask when it's gonna be fixed and then who's responsible for cleaning out the pond.
There's no contractors out yet because of road restrictions, so
Right, okay. So when do you estimated time?
sometime first part of summer.
So who cleans out the pond then, all the garbage that's
How
in
did the
it?
garbage get in there? Didn't come through the,
We watched it, we can watch it with all the rain that's coming in. It's flowing down the stream. So wherever it's coming from, I have no idea, but it's filled with bottles and plastic and it's just garbage.
we'll have to take a look at it, but the streets were swept, so it shouldn't have come from the streets. And that would be the only way it would get there.
Okay, so when you take a look at it, does that mean it's gonna get cleaned or it's gonna stay there?
We'll have to look at it and see what we got.
So there's no answer then?
Well, no, it can be cleaned if
Who is responsible for cleaning it when the pond gets cleaned? Do the homeowners have to do that? Does the city? Do we hire someone to do it?
I mean, the city will clean up, you know, if there's
Okay.
stuff floating on the edges, we'll clean that up.
It's floating on the edges, it's floating in the bushes, it's floating in the middle, it's floating everywhere. I mean, even in the wintertime, when it gets green, full of sludge, you can see.
Sounds to
just
me
a-
like when the wind was blowing last week, it blew a bunch of garbage around.
Well, with the
Pretty
rain and
much what
everything,
you're
wherever it's
saying.
coming from, I don't know where it's coming
Yeah.
from, but it's full of
Well,
garbage.
it comes off the streets, and the streets were swept, so it didn't come from the streets.
I don't care where it came from, I just wanna know, will you take care of it?
Yeah, we'll take a look at it, I told you that.
Okay, can I get an estimated time as to when you might do that?
Well, it's gotta dry up before we do anything. But we'll look at it tomorrow.
Mike Pilarski?
My name is Mike Pilarski. I live on 923 Aspen Lane in Montrose. The reason I'm here is to thank the mayor for coming out, Mayor Moyna, for coming out and visiting with us residents on a Saturday. It took about an hour and a half of his time. Came and saw the land, the lay of the land, talked with the neighbors, discussed everything that we wanted to discuss with them, was very patient. I just really appreciate it, and so did my neighbors, that you took the time to do that.
You guys are welcome. I enjoyed it, so maybe next time we'll hang out afterwards too. Someone can start a fire.
I've sent an email to all the council members on all my points on the Loomis development, all the deficiencies and pitfalls of it, so I won't discuss that again. But I appreciate your feedback, and I wanted to thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for bringing the petition too. No other open forum requests.
Mayor, we actually had two of us
Oh, are they over there? Carissa Steer, I get that close?
So I live off Steamboat Lane. We moved in 2018.
Can you state your address, please?
Oh, 928 Steamboat Lane. It's really nice having you come out. I think I just wanted a couple more answers if anything was resolved with the fire department on possibly if you do end up building these homes, is there going to be an outlet for the safety of everybody else that lives on that street for when the fire department needs to come through? Because right now, even what I've heard through rumors is the fire department is against building this right now without an outlet because of how crowded it already is with all the cars, and it's not wide enough, and the safety of everybody else. If there was a fire, they were all built up closer of what my understanding of the new development would be. It would be a rippling effect. Was there any conclusion of any talk of that from here on?
On the development in general, or on the fire department side of it?
Both.
The fire department side, we'd have to talk to Kevin, but we actually have the Loomis Homes on the agenda later on too to talk about.
Okay, so then our answers will kind of get a little bit more.
Do you have an answer for the fire department stuff by chance, Kevin?
As far as the outlet goes, the way that it's laid out right now is it's a temporary cul-de-sac. So eventually it would go through there. We do have several places right now, Steamboat being one of them, just the way that it is, it's dead end.
Yeah.
So we deal with those, we'll deal with them as we have to. As far as houses being close together and stuff, that's starting to become the new norm. It's gonna, we're gonna have to change our tactics into how we're fighting fires as we do all the time, depending on home construction, where things are laid out. This isn't singular to the city of Montrose. There's a lot of other cities that are getting houses much closer together.
No, I understand that.
So it's a tactic change. It's nothing we haven't dealt with in the past because we already have homes that are on top of one another or connected to one another and stuff like that. So the tactics are already there. We would just have to refine them and figure out what things look like in the end.
So is it for sure being developed? I guess I know he's just going to lay it out with the plan. But
There hasn't
are you guys
been.
planning on going to just develop it, whether it's with them or anybody else?
The only thing that's been for sure said right now is that no to 14 homes. But like I said, we're talking about it later too, and I mean all that's going to be brought up, and some of the stuff that was brought up in Tom's email and Mr. Pilarski's email as well. And like I said, we have the petition from all of you guys as well here too. So. All that's going to be taken into consideration before anything is approved or denied. So, like I said, the only thing right now that's been for sure decided is that they're not allowed to have 14 homes.
Okay, but it's not a for sure thing.
Nothing's for sure at this point.
Speaking for all of our neighbors, we've all talked, and if the plan that is set forth right now were to come forth, more than half of us plan on moving because we are pissed off. We don't like the idea. We don't like the idea of income housing coming in because we all bought our houses with our realtors all telling us that the market was going to boom and that it was an upcoming city, nice, more expensive housing, more development, not more low-income development. And I didn't move from Chaska all the way up here just to lose my dime. So I just want you guys to listen to us because we're not happy with it. We're all ready to pack up and go. So on top of pissing people off with the water, which I know is not your guys' fault, I get it. But what else are we supposed to do? We're going to lose money. That wasn't our plan. We all have small kids that run all over. I have 3 kids myself. My neighbors have 6 next to me. I mean, just please think of us. I know it's not an easy task to make everybody happy, but at least try. Because I don't want to split my kids up from their best friends. And that's what it's going to have to come down to. All right. Thank you. Yeah.
Katie Micah.
Hi, I'm Katie and Micah. My husband and I and our 3 kids live at 926 Steamboat Lane. We're neighbors to Carissa, and we moved in 9 years ago last month. We looked at a lot of houses. I told my husband if we were going to live in town as a farm girl, it needed to be a little town, and we picked here. It was a really quiet street, and it's gotten more busy as our children and other children have grown up. There's more cars on the street now. It's gotten more busy because we all have more kids. Like we said last meeting, there's 18 kids. 2 of those children have disabilities. In our neighborhood, one of them's ours, so I'm getting a little teary. Anyway, so I'm just here to reiterate what God said last meeting, some of what Carissa said today. It's a big job, you guys, as a council, to decide what's best for our city. I don't take that lightly. I've served on a council before. But I really want you guys to hear what this community wants and what they don't want. We don't have an intention of leaving now. Someday we will, hopefully when we take over the farm from my dad. So my biggest concerns, where my heart is the traffic and my children being in danger. I'm out with them, but that doesn't mean that one of them doesn't run out for a ball. And with, say, 12 more homes going in at the end of the street with their only way to get in and out, that probably 2 cars per family is 24 more cars coming in on a small road with a curve and a hill. We already have the neighbor girl at the end of the street who just got her license a year ago driving way too fast the way it is and having to yell at her to slow down. Then there's more and more traffic. And so I really come to you guys today pleading that you think about sticking with the original development plan that was designed to, and I know the other piece of land that has to be bought, whatever, first to make it happen, but wait it out. It will be a better decision for this community as a whole to follow that plan, to make the steamboats connect, to put in other homes like are currently there. Yes, I get it won't be as many homes. I don't know how they'll factor into property taxes and whatnot that help fund what we need to take care of in our community. But I truly, my husband and I, feel that that is the best choice. And I just wanted to get up here today again and reiterate that message. So thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. No other open forum requests. Wright County Sheriff's Office.
Mayor, council members? Eric with the Sheriff's Office. So, short and sweet, since the last meeting, there were 335 calls for service for the city of Montrose. Some other quick stats, 114 traffic stops, 17 of those result in a citation being issued, 5 warrant arrests out of the city. I guess I'd just like to address, if you guys are having any traffic issues, we'd be happy to just call the non-emergency number, and we could sit out there. That ties into like lock, just with the increase, and it's getting nice out, more people out and about. I like to remind people to lock the cars, lock garage doors, and report suspicious activity as soon as you see it. You don't have to think twice, maybe I shouldn't, just call. You know, you guys have a car here, use it, send us there. So, any concerns that you guys have heard of, or anything to pass on? Again, no overarching crime issues that I'm aware of that we have here, so okay, thank you.
Thank you.
City Council monthly activity report.
We got regular council meeting, special meeting, and Parks and Rec.
And I attended the fire raffle. Did I make Park and Rec? I can't remember. Council meeting, special council meeting.
The council meeting, special council meeting, David and I were at the Easter drive-through, and then also attended the fire department awards dinner.
I've got city council engineering meeting Personnel Committee meeting, staff, Wright County Board of Commissioners, Montrose Waverly Chamber of Commerce, Special City Council, Town Hall, and a staff meeting.
I had council, special city council, and the Department of Health town meeting.
Forgot about that one. So did David. Fire Department.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So a couple of agenda items, and then I have to add a couple of things too that just kind of came up, nothing big. But first thing on the agenda is the monthly activity report for March. Things slowed down a little bit for a month at least, and so far they're also slow this month, so we're very thankful for that because we need a little break. So the guys did adopt a highway cleanup south of town on Highway 25 last month. We have a bunch of members taking some classes right now. And then my acknowledgments is thanks to everybody in the community and outer regions who purchased gun raffle tickets for the relief associations, and congratulations to those who won. Thanks to Deb Bolter for her time with the city. She was a great asset and provided great assistance to the fire department. Waverly Fire provided mutual aid on a structure fire for us, and then all the firefighters for the continued hard work and dedication. Any questions on the activity report? Before I go into the next agenda item, just two things to note. This week is Severe Weather Awareness Week in the state of Minnesota. What that means is the Department of Public Safety, Homeland Security, Emergency Management is going to be pumping out information that I'm going to try to pump out on Facebook as I have time regarding the awareness level of severe weather. On Thursday, I believe, don't quote me on this, the tornado sirens will sound twice, once at like 1:45 and once at like 6 p.m., somewhere around there. There'll be more information in a Facebook post that I do. That is just because of Severe Weather Awareness Week. However, with the unpredictability of weather in the state of Minnesota, if you hear those ever go off, tune to your local news channel for further instructions. The warning sirens, we take issues and complaints every year about the warning sirens. Those are designed to notify people who are outdoors of pending severe weather. And it is also designed to tell people to look at their local news station to figure out why they are sounding. It is not a tornado siren. So that does not mean that a tornado is imminently coming. All of our tornado sirens are set off by Wright County Sheriff's Office, and they have certain protocols where they'll hit the button, or me or some of my guys can tell them, hit the button, because we're seeing something out in the clouds. So just because you hear that does not necessarily mean that there's a tornado impeding on the city of Montrose. So, and then the other thing, this week is also National Dispatchers Week. So I just like to take note that the unsung hero in the first responder system are our dispatchers. Without them to take the phone calls and get appropriate responses going, we wouldn't be able to fight fires the way we are. The police wouldn't be able to respond to things the way that they are. So I think that they are truly the unsung heroes of the first responder system. So they're very often heard but never seen. So just think of them throughout the next week here as they're kind of acknowledged for their hard work and dedication to this field as well. So. Next thing is the 2020 annual report, which is included in your packet. So this was completed for all 2020 numbers. Most of it's just a little change from last year's report with different numbers and some different information. Obviously, the emergency management section this year was expanded upon a little bit, and as well as some budget stuff because of the CARES Act funding and things like that. We did have a record year for call volume. We also had a record year for number of calls in a given month, and also number of calls in a given 24-hour period. So we were very busy, and again, it's just it's been a privilege to serve as the fire chief, and I couldn't do it without your guys' support, the community's support, and the guys on the fire department's support. So huge thanks to them. So with that, if you have any questions on the annual report, I can field those. Otherwise, I would like a motion to accept that so I can get it published.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve the 2020 annual fire department report.
I will second.
Further discussion? David? Aye. Nicole?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
And I'll vote yes. Motion passes 5-0.
Next item, it's kind of new business for the council as a whole, but we put it under my agenda item here just because I have the information for it. Talking with city staff, Jess and Wendy specifically, we were thinking about adding microphones to our new audio system, so I got quotes for that. To add 2 microphones, it's $2,020, and to add 4 microphones, it's $4,304. We have 4 charging ports, but if we add more than 2 more, they have to add some kind of an extender or something like that, and that's fully installed. That's with all the equipment. We feel that getting them is a good thing at this point. We'd have some extras, so if one walks out the building or one gets broke or something like that, we don't have to freak out. And also, as we all know with technology, things change very rapidly in the technology world. So let's say one of them breaks today or 2 of them break today, and tomorrow we call these guys and say, hey, we need 2. Oh, we don't have those anymore. You need a whole new system. So trying to get ahead of it on the front end before something like that happens is kind of what we're thinking as far as upgrading to fill out our charging banks anyways. I don't necessarily ever see us having 14 going all at once, but a couple extra are kind of necessary, and having a few on spare would also be a good thing, I think, as well. So
I'm glad you explained about the extender, because I was going to ask, how do we go from $1,010 each for buying one versus $4,300?
I asked the same question because the original thing was, oh, I got 4 charging spots, give me 4 new microphones. And they'd give me that. I'm like, oh, okay. How about 2? And so that's where that kind of came from. So essentially you're looking at about $1,000 a mic, regardless of which way you go for the most part. So, and that's installed. They've been very good about getting things fixed. We've had some hiccups with the system, but that was to be expected. We weren't expecting it to be a turnkey working perfectly system. But they've been very receptive coming out, working on phone calls and stuff like that. So they're a great company to work with so far. So kind of looking for your guys' direction, thoughts on getting one of those 2 options. I would suggest going with the 4 mics, but.
Does that come out of the fire department budget or community center budget?
And the thing, too, to remember is right now with the system, the way that it's set up and working fairly appropriately, we haven't put a dime of our money into it yet. It was all CARES Act funding that was able to get us this upgrade and the TV and the camera and everything like that. So far, not a dime has gone into it. So this would be the first dime to go into a sound system or the community center technology package for, 20 years? Probably, or more.
I think 2 would be a good number to add, just in case we have a port or something break and we don't have extras just floating around in there.
I would suggest we get 4, because right now we're sharing microphones.
We don't have enough for everybody tonight, so.
So if we have with everybody here, we have to share microphones. So if we have 4, at least we'd have some extras.
Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion to go ahead and purchase 4 microphones for $4,304.
I'll second it.
Further discussion on the motion?
And just to make it clear, that's not just for the microphone. Each microphone's only like $400 or something, but they have to come in and program each microphone, add that extender, do all their technology stuff, which makes my eyes spin, and I'm pretty good with technology. So it's not just the cost of the mic, it's also the cost of getting them implemented into the system. So.
Sam?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Nicole?
Aye.
I'll vote yes. Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Next thing is request for compost site burning approval. I would just like your guys' authorization to burn that when it makes sense to burn that. I'm going to have to probably wait for some restrictions to get pulled from the state, which with the way things are going might not be too long. But I would just like your guys' blessing for me to authorize the burning of that, because it is in the city limits where there is no open burning, and I can't even give out burning permits unless I reach out to you guys. So just looking for your guys' blessing to get that burnt to help Wayne and the guys.
I'll make a motion to approve a compost site burning.
I'll second.
Further discussion on the motion? Sam?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Nicole?
Aye.
I'll vote yes. Motion passes 5-0.
Emergency management, I don't really have any updates other than COVID's starting to kind of get leveled off a little bit anyways, we're starting to see. Business is back to normal and seems to be working well at City Hall from what I've seen going there and stuff. So no real big updates as far as that goes at this point. So any questions or comments on emergency management or anything? The next item is, so back in 2015 when I became fire chief, I was given a cell phone. I didn't want to carry 3 cell phones around, so I elected not to have a cell phone from the fire department. Instead, I changed it to an iPad so I could do work at home. The fire department bought that iPad. They pay for the monthly cellular coverage on it, and it it allows me to do a lot of my work from home on the spur of the minute. If people send me emails, a lot of times they get replies almost immediately, and it's because of a tool like that that I have the ability to do that. What I'm looking at right now is to have a new iPad purchase. So the current iPad I have is 5 years old. Battery life is starting to go to junk on it. 5 years old for any kind of technology device, you got your money's worth out of it essentially. So I'm looking to have a new iPad purchase, this time through the Emergency Management Fund. The fire department would continue to pay the monthly cell coverage and would get all of the accessories to go along with that as well. So the cost of the new iPad is $459.99. I'm not going for the top end one, which was like $1,400 because I'm just going to drop it anyways. So this is actually the lowest level one that they currently have out there. It's an iPad 8th generation. It's not an iPad Air or a Pro or a Pro 12 or anything like that. It's literally just a simple iPad. So.
And you said that's out of the emergency management fund?
Yeah, it would come out of the emergency management budget, which there should be plenty of money in there that we generally don't spend every year. And again, the fire department will continue to pay the monthly charge and things like that. So it's kind of a split between both of them, which is kind of where I lived my entire life. So.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the emergency management iPad purchase.
I'll second it.
Further discussion on the motion? David?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Nicole?
Aye.
I'll vote yes. Motion passes 5-0.
And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. Park and Rec?
So I don't actually have a copy of the minutes. I thought I'd find them online, and I did not find them online.
They're in the, here.
Here you go.
Okay. Thank you, I looked.
All right, so we kicked off our meeting with a discussion, just a little quick discussion about our final plans for our little drive-through Easter egg hunt. Katie and I attended that, and Kirby and David helped out with that. Not gonna lie, a bit of a disappointment. Not the greatest turnout. Had a lot of leftover candy. So if you guys want some candy, we got you. That's all I got for that. We do have our friend. Do you want to come speak about your sunflower fields? Sure. All right, if you guys will have them, we have a little bit more information, and I'm sure he can tell you more about what he's got going on than I can.
Thanks for having me, you guys. My name is Johnny Olson. My friends call me Johnny Fish. For the last 6 years, I've been growing sunflowers in honor of someone that's been inspirational to my life, or inspirational to someone in my life. It started out with growing some flowers for an old timer who's dying. Him and his wife were suffering, and I'm going into a care facility. And to honor him, I grew him a field of flowers. He had a green thumb for flowers, and I thought, well, this is a good way to kind of just be a good steward to his land and to him, and to just know that, hey, I care. And people started showing up. And I did it again a couple more years, and people just kept coming and cutting flowers, sharing their experiences of how, like, this is just, it brings hope and help, healing, and it's just a fun thing to do. So over the last few years, it's grown and grown. It's something I do on my own dime in my own time. I never served my country. I wish I would have, but this is a way I kind of just give back to communities and to my friends. And I'd like to grow a field of flowers for you guys, Montrose, for you guys. So I don't know if you had any questions about anything in particular about that. Location stuff. We've grown where usually our minimum acres is about 1.5 acres. And we can do up to 40. And a couple of gals that reached out, Michelle had reached out and said, hey, we want to at the spot. We think it'd be pretty cool. And really what this does is it just brings a lot of recognition to like the city. And what I tell people is you come with $0, 0 donations, 0 expectations. The price is right. It's just a gift. It's a selfless gift. We keep all that signage, all the support this foundation or that foundation out of it. It's really just kind of a sanctuary area for people to just heal. So I grow the flowers. I put trails in a couple days before the flowers bloom. And I'll put an old tractor out there or an old boat or something that's just really sentimental to somebody in the area. And we've done pianos, boats, tractors, just a lot of fun stuff. But it's just a way to connect. It lasts about 7 to 10 days, and then the bloom is done, and that's that. So feel free to ask any questions, you guys.
There are pictures up here too of the area out there.
So originally, they had brought to my attention there's a little city garden area that you guys have, and then they had mentioned that it would be really cool is to the north there, that large area. When I was actually coming down to Montrose months ago, I had noticed that spot. I'm like, man, I wonder what's going on with it. This would be a pretty cool spot. So anyways, they had brought this to my attention. It kind of worked out, and I've been encouraging them to go big. Why not? The equipment's here. I'm here. I'm willing to do it if you guys will have me. So.
Can you describe your process from beginning to end of the bloom? I mean, I think that's kind of
The process is, it's a lot of communication, right? So there's calls, emails, text messages. It's city council meetings sometimes. It never used to be that way. It used to just be a little patch of land that nobody really cared about. Trees, dumps, garbage, you name it. I go in and I clean it up. I beautify it. Make it awesome. So this particular spot, I would, with your permission, typically I'd spray, if we're going to do it right. Spray it, and then I two-bottom plow, I disc, I fertilize, I till, I seed, I spray again, and then really they're kind of on their own until they are about to bloom, and then I come back and I till in 6-foot paths, and we make some designs and stuff. It's really cool. If you haven't checked it out, it's really a lot of fun. So what I tell people is be the positive algorithm. So come out, take pictures. Photographers have been, they've been broke. Everything's been canceled. They haven't been able to celebrate anything or mourn any loss. And these guys come out here and they use this as a canvas to just be the positive light, positive algorithm throughout their community and beyond. And it's been amazing, guys. I mean, 1 million posts, 500,000 views on the website. Within a couple hours of setting up our e-newsletter, we had over 10,000 people within a couple hours. So it just turned, people are just really hungry for something bright and fun with no strings attached. Yeah. That's the process. Oh, it gets the end, right? So they bloom. I can harvest them. We can do a U-pick. Birds love them. Turkeys love them. Deer love them. And then we chop them down and we till it up and we can plant grass seed or level the ground. Really, it's your call. Prep for the next year if you'd like. It's called fish sunflowers. You've got a high ridge on that larger field there, ridge, and I've always wanted to put in, make it seem like it's a dock. So you've almost got like this perfect setting, and the flowers will face 12, if I'm not mistaken here, perfectly. It just seems like it's too good to be true. So.
How long does it take from the time that you plant them to the time that they actually bloom?
About 52 to 57 days, depending on the soil water, sun. You know, we have if a storm comes, it's history. We get a tornado or we get hail, we're hosed. We can try again if there's enough time in the season, but it's a risk. It's farming, right? So, I'm trying to think what other questions I could at least throw at you that have been asked. No, it doesn't cost anything. No, there's no donation boxes. No, there's no political signs. There's no foundations. This is just something you'd see if you went to a cemetery. The food trucks can stay home. But these photographers, boy, I tell you, they come in from all over, and it's pretty awesome, guys. You'll never forget it.
On that north side, we were trying to establish grass for future baseball field. What is it going to do? What would it do to that?
Well, the grass there, if you're worried about really getting it level, I walked the field a few weeks ago. It's not extremely level, so I don't know if you really are trying to get a finished product for baseball.
Eventually, not right now.
Really, I think like any fields, people don't realize these fields are really pitted and they're really rough. And the more they're worked, the better they seem to get. So again, I've got a lot of guys that are willing to help out, volunteer, where they will come and if we need to roll it, we will seed it. We could try to level it. And there's guys that are just they're like mad that they haven't been able to help. And they're just chomping the bit, like, how can we help you? So if your goal is to level that ground and plant grass seed for ball fields, I'm sure we can work something out. Sure.
Yeah, because I've been told it'll be better when you're out of there than it is now.
It might be.
So, and I've talked with Johnny before this. I've also talked with the mayor of Buffalo and Monticello, and they're both planning on right now doing a sunflower field, if not within city limits, next to their city. And Terry Lockemeyer, the mayor of Buffalo, her big idea is that we just have these 3 towns right in a row on Highway 25. People could just go to one, go to the next, go to the other, do some sort of scavenger hunt type of thing within the city of Buffalo, perhaps, maybe include Montrose. It'll bring people to town. I'm sure that Jackie B's would even open up earlier on those week or weekends that they're blooming if we did this. The thing that really sold me when I talked to Johnny is that he had said that it's going to be better when we're done. He goes, we're not just going to leave it all chopped up and all over the place. It's going to be cleaned up and everything's going to be better than how we started. So,
if I can add to that, so we could prep for another year if it goes good. If you guys can hang in there. And you say, yep, next year let's do another sunflower field. We can change the variety up. And what's nice about it is you're not having to mow all that. I don't know if you guys are mowing that. The city of Dayton, we did 2 fields for them, and they kept the prices down on having to go over there and maintain it. So that's one thing to maybe consider. I want to do a good job. I don't want to disappoint you guys. I want it to be way better than how I received their God. I really do. So I'll do the best I can. If we can knock it out of the park, it'd be great. We've done fields all over Minnesota. I've been northern Minnesota, Albert Lee. We got people asking to come out to Kansas and Iowa and South Dakota, and Madeline Island was just another call I got the other day. So it's just become a tour. So
how many did you do last year?
I did 12 fields last year, and we released 10. So we lost a couple. Happens.
How many planning this year?
Boy, I'm gonna go until I run the state. I haven't had lunch and dinner yet, so I'll go until I got no more blood to give. So yeah.
So you're looking at doing the bigger part of the field then? That's what you're.
But I looked at this, and I'm not an expert on traffic control and all that stuff, but that larger portion would be great. Larger field there, and then the one to the south, if it could be with neighbors' permission, your permission, either parking. We could get creative with some other things there, but you've got such a wonderful setup. If people were to drive in and around, they could. Their cars are completely hidden, right? They're completely hidden. It doesn't get any better than that. And it sounds like the land was actually used for some military training, like excavation type of stuff. So I have no idea what's down in the earth. I don't know if it's good soil or what's going on there. I don't know if anybody knows, but
The top should all be black dirt, so.
Well, it should work. Thank God they're hardy, but yeah, I think you got an awesome setup, guys. It'd be really, really, really cool. And if the veterans or people, military were using that land, it'd be really cool to honor them with this and do it for them. I'm looking for that field. So
I do have one question. So it was a field before. It actually was tilled and plowed, so there's good dirt in there. And we did use the Army reserves. They actually graded it for us for training. But my question is, the city has spent about $190,000 so far on that parkland. So what's our guarantee that you are actually going to come back and take care of it when you're done? I mean, when someone comes into town, a developer or something, we get money out of them so that at least there's a guarantee that they're going to come back and take care of it. If there's no money exchanging hands, what's our guarantee that you're not just going to say, well, this didn't work, I'm heading the other direction?
yeah, I think if we got to write something up, we can. A lot of times, the cities, it's been a handshake. Dayton, Monticello, Big Lake, Becker, Albert Lee, a lot of these are handshake agreements, either on personal property or public. But if there's something that we need to have some agreement, like, hey, this is what we expect, this is what we'd like, that wouldn't be a problem. So, yep. Like I said, it's really hard to do something. If you could imagine someone, like, it is a lot of work. Imagine having somebody draw a really beautiful picture and not having them put their name on it, not having them take credit for it. I'm here selflessly trying to do it, to help, to bring people together. And I don't want to let anybody down. So I will do whatever I can to make that better than how it is now. Whatever it takes.
Currently, the smaller area on the south side was approved of last October, I think, is when we approved it, October or November. So we would need a motion to move it to the north side, and then we'd need to, at least over the next few months, figure out our parking and driving through there, all of that.
I want to drop this off for you. Either way, whatever you guys decide, but I'll give you this, Kirby. Okay, that's great.
Question for you.
The
When would you need to start planting by?
Soon. So those you can give out. An idea that I had too, I'll throw it back to you, is those are a mixed variety of flowers. There's all kinds of colors in there. They're pretty neat. But there's some bags there that are empty that if you want to do something to promote a business in town or something like that, you can put a card or a note or something in there and have a little fun with that. Now, the whole idea is that people come here and pay it forward to just, they can express their thankfulness to your businesses. Get to know the history about Montrose and Buffalo and Waseca, Albert Lee and Faribault. It's been pretty amazing. So
The city attorney has some guidance on just an agreement that we could do.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say this sounds like a great idea. I just did a license agreement for the city of Shakopee for a community garden. It's like a 2-page agreement. No money is necessary to change hands or anything like that. It's very simple, just basically covers your concern about, what happens when, the garden expires or when it needs to be taken down. And it's a very simple agreement. I literally just did one. So that's something, if the city's interested in, we could draft up very quickly.
And in regards to just the following year, if this goes good, you like it, that helps me out, right? So that I can make preparations this fall on what to do. You guys will love it. If we do it, it's pretty cool. It brings a lot of people together.
My thought would be that if we move it to the north side, I'd want to see right off the bat just a 2-year agreement, just in case there was any type of, whatever happened this year, and then we could readjust for next year. That's what I would like to see.
The flowers I grow this year would be a black oil. You can harvest them. The birds love them. Turkeys love them. Deer love them. They press them. There's a gentleman that will come and harvest them for us, so they're not wasted, as long as that doesn't bother anybody. Otherwise, we can hand pick them. They don't want the big machine coming in. And then next year, if it goes good, we do hybrid, which is a floral arrangement. It's beautiful. It's unbelievable. And then you asked me a question about when to get started.
Yeah, when would you need to get started?
So I'm hoping to start the field, first field off in Buffalo, which we got the approval for, behind the Alana Health Clinic. Typically, we don't publicize the location until it's about to bloom, to keep premature, traffic down. So it's kind of a top secret until it's showtime. And that's where, I could use help from the community if there's anybody that's like, hey, the old timer that passed away that had the awesome Alice Chalmers, that tractor means a lot to a lot of people in the community. Or that old whatever, let's get it out there and have some fun with it, if you want. But Buffalo first one will be hopefully first week in May. And then we'll do about a 10-day spread where we come down and be working here and we plant 10 days later. So we're constantly having this bloom, the tour. Any other questions, guys, at all?
Any other questions, thoughts?
No, I think it'd be a great idea. I mean, I've been to your Facebook page and I've seen what you've done. I've watched some of your videos on, how you're out there, tilling and all that other stuff. Yeah, and I think it'd be a great idea. I think, I always get the question of, where do you live? Well, Montrose. Well, where's that? And I think this would be, you've got, if I remember right, roughly 33,000 Facebook followers. And for Montrose's name to get out to that amount of people, I think would be just a huge plus. Whether it, increases any local business or whatnot, I think just getting our name out there would be great. So I like it, and I like what you do.
Yeah, thank you. And I think, big thing that comes up too is like liability. And, I'm not a foundation, I'm just a man, right? When there's no money really exchange, there's no donation boxes out there, there's no admission or parking, things just change. They just change, and it's a lot simpler. We're cutting through a lot of red tape by just doing it that way. And so I do an umbrella on myself and on equipment and all that stuff. Otherwise, it is the city land. But I haven't had one issue with anybody, and we've had thousands of people come out. They're so thankful to be able to experience it.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I was a skeptic, but I think your attitude and your heart have changed my mind.
Absolutely.
Good work. Good work.
So I'll make a motion to move the sunflower field, or to approve a sunflower field on the north side of the Herzog property with a 2-year agreement with Fish Sunflowers.
You got it, buddy.
I will second.
Further discussion?
One question, how many acres are we talking about?
There's a screen there I shot from my phone, Onyx. I just did a kind of a rough measurement. So you're about 4 acres. We can dial it back. We got to realize when you're dealing with if you're planting 40 acres or 100 acres, you have all this wildlife that comes in, and an acre or two could get gobbled up. Well, if you're only planting an acre or two, your field's gone, and that's happened, and that's tough. So I just say, you go as big as you can, and you make the trails where you lost your crop. And that's pretty much how these designs really end up taking form is, oh boy, that didn't do very good. And so,
Okay.
yeah. So you're roughly about 4 acres, maybe 3. Thank you guys for having me on here.
Further discussion? David?
Aye.
Nicole?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
I'll vote yes. Motion passes 5-0.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
One other question I had that it's not related really to the sunflowers, but kind of is. Do you guys allow professional photo booths to come in and charge people for photos, or is that something that you just say, don't do that in my fields, this is just for...
No, if you don't do it at a grave site or on a grave site, that's just all I ask. I just say, just honor it. Just honor it. It's really hard to do.
Yeah, I just was curious, just because I've actually had people ask that, where they say, well, is there going to be like a photo booth that people have to pay for? So I just wanted to run that by you. So
Photographers come in, and I tell folks it's open from sun up to sundown. If they screw this up, you call me, and I show up, and I mow them all down. It's really hard. But if we're having trouble, then we gotta shut it down. That's the fastest way. That's the only way it'll stop the people from coming is to mow mow them down. So they don't want to see me do that. I don't want to do that. That's a tough one. And I have to rethink doing this if they're going to not respect the rules. So every field has their own rules, but most of them all kind of follow the same suit. Like, hey, be a good human being, and you're here enjoying this on someone else, you know? And yeah, so to answer your question, no, photographers can charge and book photo sessions. They've been broke, their computers are busted. You know what I mean? I've had so many hundreds of stories. So, yeah, book them. Sun up to sundown. Let them make hay. They're the positive algorithm that we need to become positive media, and man, it's just been awesome. You guys are gonna love it.
Cool. Can't wait.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah.
Concession stand discussion.
I actually was reading off my minutes, so can I like jump back to some park and the minutes? My bad, I just got a little thrown off there. We did bring up the regional park again, I would like to see something get started, come up with a solution. All I'm ever hearing is we're applying for the same grant over and over. Like, I don't really know where to start, but we need to I think we just need to start looking at other grants, try and find other options. I don't know what those options are. I can try and find some options, but I think we all need to start working together to find something to do, because I can't say this enough, but people would like to see something there, and hopefully with some sunflower fields, that'll get us to start with that.
It's all a matter of money. Ashland, it's all a matter of money.
That's why I'm trying to say let's find some options. Get creative. I'm not saying let's just spend thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm saying let's find something. Let's find an answer. Let's get creative. Let's stop looking at it as this, it has to be done this way. Because clearly that way is not working. You're telling me it's a 20-year plan and we're 5 years in and we haven't done anything.
Yeah, I think it probably be a good idea if we had another joint Park and Rec and City Council meeting. We did that a couple years ago, and we had one person showed up, and I mean, it ended up just being just the council throwing ideas out. And I mean, we created a 3-phase plan at that point, but I think it'd be a good idea to have another kind of joint meeting with the Park and Rec and just have everybody in the same room and talk about it, hash it out, throw ideas around.
Yep. And I think you said the same thing in February, and I agreed to it then too. So make a plan. Let's figure that out. I 100% agree with you guys. Like, let's throw in an extra meeting one day, hash it out. We did go to discuss park and trail plan, but apparently some of us still need more time to review the parks and the trail plan. I'm at a loss for words on that one. I don't know why we didn't have that one done. I had it. Katie and I went and made notes. We went out probably about a month ago now, and we had notes. But we were basically told, because I went to just go, all right, who knows, what do you guys have to say about this? And we were basically told, we're going to table it, and we need to go back home and read it again. So sorry, I'm still just incredibly aggravated by that meeting. Long story short, I tried to start talking about the Parks and Trails plan because that's what you guys asked for, and was basically told, nope, we're not going to talk about that right now.
Who's leading those meetings?
Up until a week and a half ago, Sylvia Henry. Now I led the April meeting.
You need to drive the meeting, Ashland. That's the only way things are going to get done is if you drive it.
I would be more than happy to drive it, but it seems that sometimes people in attendance above me feel that they need to drive the meeting.
Well,
So one of the park commission members asked if they couldn't wait because she wanted to have a chance to go out and look at the parks and make her comments because she hadn't had a chance to do that. So I asked them to please, all of them, go out, look at the parks again, and come back to their next meeting with all of their suggestions and their plans, because one of the park commissioners asked to do it at a different meeting.
I'll have to watch the video to be sure, but I'm pretty sure we were recommended to go out and reread and resurvey ourselves. And then she was like, I would like to do that. She agreed to a proposal that was made by you. Now, I would have liked to have been able to lead my own meeting and had her speak for herself and come up with at least, I would have liked for at least something to have been said other than I literally got to, all right, guys, so what do you guys have to say about this? And nobody even at that table had a chance to speak.
Well, one of the issues was that, the day of the meeting, staff was contacted and asked for copies of the park plan because people on Park and Rec did not have them.
Well, we just didn't have current copies. Well, we have been given copies in the past. I just asked to make sure that we had another copy in case, so we could have something to review at, in person. In the same way, I know what we said at the meeting, but I still wanted the meeting, the minutes, just to make sure that I had all of the information I needed. That was the only reason, I asked to make sure that those were in our packets for that reason, was just to make sure that we had everything, made sure we didn't miss anything, make sure that that's something that we have when we take home, because I lost mine, just to make sure we had it. That's why I asked for it. It wasn't because we hadn't read it, because I believe we got it in January of last year, and I do believe you gave Katie a copy at her first meeting. The other reason I just tried to ask and make sure that we had that was just because if we had anybody in attendance, they could also see the Parks and Trails plan if they needed to. But it wasn't because I hadn't read it, because I have. And I believe I read over it with Katie, because I know that we talked about every single park, where they were, and then Katie and I drove around and we looked at all the parks.
Well, and one of the commission members did state on the video that, she's only been living in the town for about a year and would like to she hasn't been to all the parks yet and would like that chance.
Yeah, no, and I had no problem with that. I just still would have liked to have had even a small discussion, but wasn't really given a chance to even have a small discussion.
So when can we expect some kind of report on that, on trails and parks from you guys?
I would have loved to have come with you. I would have loved to have brought something to you today. So I don't want to be this person who's going to go, hopefully next month, but I'm going to actually take that back, because if we had a May meeting, I will not be in attendance for the council meeting. So either have somebody else bring it to you in May, or I would bring it back to you in June.
Because I think we need that before we even get together as a council and Parks and Rec to talk over what the priorities are.
So I guess my thoughts on that would be, I would encourage the five of you to also get a copy of the Parks and Trails plan and look at the parks, so that you guys could also bring those ideas and thoughts and concerns to said meeting. I get that, as with being the Parks and Rec and Trails Committee, that should be our area of expertise, but it would be nice to just make sure that that everybody else does have some knowledge, especially since you've only lived in town for 2 or 3 years, right?
That's immaterial.
Well, no, I'm just saying, we're using time as a way of measuring. So and then David's only lived here for a handful of months, and you guys should also have a chance. And I'd like you guys to go and look at the parks yourselves as well, if you haven't had a chance to, since you haven't been here as long.
When we ask something from you, Ashlyn, we don't expect you to turn it around and turn it on us that we have to do something, right?
I don't think
you need
I
to gather the
anything
information and bring it to us to review and to make decisions on.
First off, I don't think I turned anything around on you. I think I merely suggested that we all take part in bringing thoughts, comments, and concerns. I'm not trying to push that off on you in any way, shape, or form. Also, I don't think that's an unreasonable expectation. You're supposed to be the leaders here, aren't you? Shouldn't you know what your city looks like?
Excuse
Can I
me.
step in for 1 second? Just as the former liaison for Park and Rec, when we went over the Park and Trail plan, it was, 5 years ago, something like that. We went over it with our director, our Public Works director, because they are familiar with the Park and Trail plan. And currently, right now, you have brand new commission members who don't know really anything about your Park and Trail plan. So a direction from the council and your Public Works director would be sufficient to help these guys. Because right now, all you've done is give them a Park and Trail plan and say, hey, here you go over this. You got to try and figure out what you need to do. And my understanding in watching the video, they don't know what to do. And they need direction from you as a council and you as a Public Works director to guide them and say, this is what needs to be done. And this is how you need to do it. As a city you're the liaison. Either one of you can attend. You have to know your park and trail plan, and you have to be able to give direction to brand new commission members.
And
that's just where it comes from.
we did discuss it a bit last year when we first gave the plan out,
Right.
because there's a special section in there, recommendations that are from the Park and Rec Commission.
Correct.
And that's what they're supposed to be going over, and we did discuss that back then.
Right. Last year we did, you're correct, we
Yep.
did, but last year was also 90% COVID.
You're right.
So,
You're correct.
I mean, when new commission members got this last year in January, you know, they're not familiar with it. So basically what I think she's asking for is a little help and a little direction from, I mean, like I said, when we did it as a commission, it was the public works director sat with us and went through it step by step. This is, you know, Northridge Park, this is Thorson Park, and that's how it was done, was with the help from public works director.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, and that the next meeting they have, that Wayne will be there and can walk through all of that stuff and can go through that. So,
I mean, and it's also helpful to have whoever your liaison is. I know you guys are kind of back and forth, you know, filling in for
I had to
each
take a
other
month
to
off.
also understand and work with either your chair or your commission or whatever. Just get familiar with it, because all of the park people have toured the parks. You and Katie did it, and me and Sue did it last year. I took her to all the parks, so I think they just need a little direction on how to do it and what you guys are expecting.
Okay.
All right, I need to step away from this for a second. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say this. I really want to know why every single thing I bring to you guys gets pushed off and sent back at me, and every single thing that I have tried to bring up or come up with an idea is shot down. Why? It's not a rhetorical question. I'm looking for an answer.
I guess I'm not understanding what we're shooting down here.
For an example, suggesting that the council also make sure to walk the parks, and you insinuate that I'm trying to just push it off on you. Is it really too much to ask for you to take an hour out of the next month and go, hey, here's this park, hey, here's this park, here's what we're noticing? Because you may notice something that I didn't notice, because
But that's not what he said though. He said
that's
that.
how I'm interpreting it.
Well, then
and if that's not how it's meant, then my apologies. But
yeah,
it really seems
that's not what he was saying. You came to him and said, you've only been here for a couple of years, and so, I mean, that feels like we've only been here for so long, so we don't know what we're talking about. That's kind of how it feels.
You haven't had a chance to look at this.
Okay, we gotta bring the blood level down
No.
here, or
No.
Hold on. So
Hold on, I can speak for myself.
I realize that.
Sorry.
No, I think we're done.
Okay. I'm sorry if I am upsetting you, and I'm sorry if you feel that I'm angry, because I am angry. I'm very upset that I was shot down at my meeting, was told while we were on the part of our agenda, at the top of our agenda, it was regional park. We were discussing regional park, and I was being told by the council member in attendance not to be discussing regional park, and that we needed to be working on the parks and trails plan. I repeated multiple times that we were not to that part of the agenda. We got to that part of the agenda finally. We're told that we needed to table it. Because Sue's only lived here a year and a half, that means that she needs to have more time, which is why I brought up that we have council members that haven't lived here very long. If you want to choose to be offended by it, that's on you. I was merely just saying, if you haven't had a chance to, please take a chance to look at this.
I'm not offended by anything. I'm just telling you I didn't see the pertinence of that comment. Okay?
I'm sorry, I actually just didn't catch that.
I didn't see the pertinence of that comment. It doesn't.
I mean, if you could choose to take it personally, I don't see why you wouldn't go look at the parks and take your own
Nobody
notes
here
as well.
said we wouldn't. Did any of us say we
Tom's
wouldn't?
the one pitching a fight on me. He's saying
No,
that he
he's
doesn't see
not.
the pertinence. Like, I don't understand why there was any backlash to that.
I think this is a lot of just not communicating between each other of what's being said here. Things are getting too heated right now, and yeah, we can all review the parks, we can all review the trail plan. That's fine. We can go do that stuff. No, we're not saying we're not going to, or that we won't.
Well, that's all I'm asking for, and it just felt like I was receiving some backlash for a fairly reasonable request. You know, trying to play a sympathetic ear because, well, and I guess my only point was, Nicole grew up here. Sam, I guess I don't know your history here. I know Kirby grew up here. I assumed they knew. I just didn't know your history and what you knew and how much you knew. That was all I was trying to say there. But I'll have that conversation with you later. This is not the time. Next, Forest Creek Park update. Just because it's been a while. Apparently, as soon as it dries up, they're going to put in a park. Is there like a more finalized timeline we're looking at for that? Yep. Oh, wonderful. Do you? Yep.
Yeah, it's still pretty wet back there.
Estimated amount of time that'll take? Just an estimated time. So, are we looking at last week of April, early week of May? Just started, yeah. All right. Yeah, sounds good to me. Then we also just brought up Summer Splash. It's typically been in July. We did discuss there will not be a Montrose Days this year to try and link it up with a softball tournament. So that was, I don't know if that was an idea that you had come up with or if that was...
It was brought to me after the fact. So.
Well, I guess that we'll just have to run with that and we can discuss that, or if you want to just come to that meeting and we'll see what we could do. I guess I thought that wasn't a bad idea. That way, Dad plays baseball, Mom takes the kids to go have some fun. Or softball, my apologies. And then National Night Out. As long as I can remember, we've always done a city thing, not always just in the neighborhoods. I would like to continue to see the more city aspect, and I get that that's not the traditional way, and it was brought up that one of those things that we have is for something like Montrose Days is that's kind of where you go and you meet the town and you meet other people that aren't necessarily your direct neighbors. And no disrespect to Montrose Days, but there's not a lot going on, and I could kind of see why you might not want to bring your kids up to Montrose Days when the majority of what's going on is drinking and a bounce house. So I would like just to see something that's a little bit more family oriented. It's never,
Yeah, I think it'd be a good discussion for the Park and Rec Commission to have about doing something kind of similar to last year, where they bring in some food trucks and some other activities, and just kind of that stuff. So.
Yeah, my thoughts there is we just did some food trucks. I don't know exactly what would have possibly been spent there, but minimal. Just it is nicer since our only big city-wide event is not always the most family-friendly. I think concession stand discussion. She wants no part of it, so we'll just pass on that. If you guys know anybody else who'd possibly be interested in trying to open some concession stands, explore those options, but that's her thing, not mine. And
Park and Rec meeting schedule discussion.
All right, what you think? I want to hear from you guys first there.
What was talked about? What did the other commission members think about that?
About
for a schedule.
So most of my communication's been done with Katie, and I've only spoken with Sue at the meetings. Katie is leaning towards once a month because you guys are asking us to update the Spark and Trails plan. Katie also has said that she felt like she didn't have a lot of guidance. The only reason I had any kind of background in it is just because my household is very experienced in that aspect, but I could also see why somebody else would look at this and go, what do I do? But we need your guys' help. We need you guys to communicate with us. We need you guys to tell us what you want to see, what we need to know what you want from us so that we can bring that back to you. You can't just go update the Park and Trails plan. So I would also like to see, hopefully in the near future, a joint meeting just so that we can discuss that, and then from there, I guess, decide further the schedule, look at what we need to get started, and then further work on the Parks and Trails plan. I think a joint meeting would be the best place to start, so that we can make sure we have that whole open line of communication, make sure that we all know exactly what the expectations are and exactly what we want to get done.
Can we find a date next month instead of the Park and Rec meeting? Maybe the later in May?
We can do that, yep.
Do you still want to have a May meeting?
I think that would cover the May meeting for you guys, just to have a joint meeting.
Okay, so then my question is, would we be picking a different date or just go with the normal, what the normal Park and Rec meeting would be? And that'd be
The first Thursday of the month. Is there anything else scheduled that day?
No, there's not. We could have it that day.
We'd have to look at the community center book because we wouldn't all fit in the,
that's true.
the community room.
Look at the community center books, and then if that date doesn't work, then maybe we could do the following Thursday, and then we'll just communicate that with you and the other three as well.
All right.
If that works, but we'll shoot for that first Thursday in May.
Sounds good to me. That's the day I ask off for every month anyway. But,
I just have a little comment here. Since January, the Park and Rec has obviously been a hot topic with all of you. Go back to January, you guys kind of were thinking about taking it away. February, I don't remember what February was, but I went to the February meeting actually, and it got pretty heated. March was last month with the situation with the Park and Trail plan.
That was April.
We're in April. Okay, you're right. But anyways, it's just been a heated discussion, and I just ask that you guys, for many, many years, there was not really any problems except for one. And that problem, I don't want to go out there and put it out there, but I'm gonna, that one problem is back. So are you guys gonna be switching the staff liaison soon? Is it gonna be your new person?
We can certainly discuss that.
Okay, because I think that would be a great idea. Okay. Because as she mentioned, everything that has come to you guys is kind of being seen as a negative. We're not getting, not we anymore, but they are not getting good feedback and they're not feeling appreciated. What you guys need to do is appreciate the volunteers that you have. It's hard to get them.
That's one thing that that's the plan is once Christy is trained in, that she's going to take over all of those extra deputy clerk type meetings. So that's the plan. Okay. So that's what we're looking at going forward.
Okay. Because like I said, it's hard to get volunteers, and the way these last 3-4 months have been going, you're going to lose them. And I'll be honest, I worked my butt off to update that Park and Trail plan and bring in everything that I did, and I don't want to see it gone in less than 6 months. So please just work with the people here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Like I said, I just thought if you don't mind. Do you guys have any other questions for me? All right. Just a friendly reminder, though. I'm a pretty easy person to find. If you guys have a question for me, granted, I can sometimes be kind of a snot, but I will always listen to you guys. Please reach out to me if you need anything or have anything to ask of me. My line is always open. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks. Planning and zoning. Loomis Homes revised plan, unit development plan, and preliminary plat.
Just going to ask, were you going to speak first, or? I didn't know if you wanted to talk. No. Okay. Sure. Before you guys today, you have an application for 12 single-family homes located off of Steamboat Lake. The applicant is applying for a development stage PUD rezoning and preliminary plat. The application in question would actually create an entirely new zoning district, which essentially we would probably entitle the Rolling Meadows 4th Edition. Through that specific process, you're using the PUD to say what are the allowed uses, the lot sizes, the widths, and everything that you guys want to give them the flexibility for. You'll also be approving, if you approve, the preliminary plat at this time, and the applicant will need to come back for the final plat. Regarding the flexibility that the applicant is asking for, they're asking for flexibility on lot size, And the R1 zoned area, the lot size requirement is 10,000 square feet. The smallest lot size in this development, since they have revised the plan, is now 7,404 square feet, up to the largest size of 11,745, although the average size of them is 8,847. They're asking for flexibility on the lot width. In an R1 zoned area, the lot width requirement is 80 feet. This one, the smallest lot width will be 53.5 feet. They're also asking for side yard setbacks. The minimum setbacks in this is going to be 5 feet. Additionally, since they revised the plan, 915 and 918 Steamboat Lane, which are directly adjacent to it, they are setting the houses back so that it meets the R1 requirement. Because those are R1 zoned there, it will then be 10 feet on those sides there, so it'll meet that requirement. I just wanted to bring up some things regarding the comp plan. So the application in question, it does follow the land use density that is set for this, which is low density, with it being around 4 units per acre. But a key goal that I wanted to bring up from the land use growth goals is that the land use growth is to encourage infill on existing vacant lots and redevelopment of underutilized lots, and also to coordinate growth and development with logical and phased extension of municipal utilities. Regarding that, this lot in question is actually specifically targeted in the comp plan, in the vacant residential inventory. And that is to encourage the utilization of public infrastructure for already developed prior to the annexation and further platting of new subdivisions. So it does encourage infill development, especially of these vacant lots, which have already been identified in the comp plan. Lastly, I just wanted to say that I brought 2 resolutions for you guys today. One would be a resolution approving the preliminary plat, and the other one would be a resolution approving the PUD. The council kind of has 3 options here at this time. They can either approve both of the resolutions with the recommended conditions that I have given. You can deny the application with the findings that you guys provide, or you can table the action, and we can figure that out. Lastly, I just wanted to say that this is kind of a policy decision regarding how much flexibility the city and the council wants to give to the developer, which is why we have this PUD process. I would say, though, with the conditions of approval that the city engineer and that I've put on there, I believe that this would be something that I would recommend approval just based upon if the conditions are met. That's all I have to say on that. I do believe Mr. Loomis is here if he wanted to talk, but I don't know if he wants to. But I don't. That's up to you guys if you want him to speak.
Chuck, did you have something you wanted to say?
Earlier this year, a public hearing was held regarding the Rolling Meadows addition in Steamboat Lane. Earlier this year, we had a public hearing regarding the Rolling Meadows action on Steamboat Lane. Those in attendance were all against the PUD approval. After review, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously against the approval. 20 signatures have since been compiled on a petition against approval. Much time and effort and resources were invested into planning the future of our community. The development as such should follow these guidelines as close as possible. The area was ghost platted for 9, not 12 lots. The increase in density and style of the proposed dwellings are not conducive to the surrounding properties. A large number of concerns were discussed that may become issues with the proposed layout in the future. Even with the modifications to the proposal, I feel the PUD should not be approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.
Stas, did you want to hear? I believe Mr. Loomis was here. That's up to you guys, though.
You guys have any questions for Loomis?
Mr. Loomis, if you would like to approach the dais.
Scott Loomis with Loomis Development here to answer any questions. We've revised the plan to reduce 2 lots from the original plan. We've also since worked with our city engineer to create another catch basin at the start of the development to alleviate any possible water issues or concerns in regards to the hillside there. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer.
I guess I would ask you, have you made any contact with the homeowners in the township that own the property at the end of the road?
No, we have not.
Okay. So it's like, you know, we look at this connection to the other section of Steamboat, and it's like, you know, it's future. How long in the future is that if you haven't even talked to the people? Do we know if they're ever willing to sell? Is it going to be 5 years, 20 years? I mean,
I don't have an answer to that. That could go the same question, go to the same way as this development. You know, when is this going to get developed? When you guys originally developed the whole Rolling Meadows 3rd edition, so it's I don't have an answer to that.
It's tough for me to support any developing that area without a plan of when that addition would be made a through road. And I've talked to the lady who lives there, and she said she's not willing to sell for at least 15 years unless there was a very substantial amount of money given. And at that point, it wouldn't be, you know, financially responsible for any developing company to pay to buy that land and put that road through.
I've gone out there and I've gone to the end of the road and tried to turn my 21-foot truck around down there, and even with that half circle cul-de-sac, it's going to be tough. Plus, you know, you've got traffic issues and all the other things. So from my perspective, I'm not sure I would support it until we could connect the roads together either. So.
Do you guys have any questions for Mr. Loomis?
I think the road was my main concern moving forward on this. And if there's no plan for it right now, I mean, that's kind of the biggest part of this development that's kind of sticking with me right now, is we want to see that connected and move that forward a little bit more too.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I think there's, you know, we're throwing, you know, 12 houses back there now. It's not a whole lot of room. Like Tom, I've driven that road. I've walked that. I think it's just going to be too much without that through street.
Do we have a motion one way or the other on the Loomis PUD?
Well, I would make a motion against the development at this point in time.
I'll second it.
Further discussion on the motion? Sam?
So approve the denial?
Yes. To not approve.
So yes.
No.
To not approve.
Tom?
Yes. To not approve, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Motion passes 5-0. City planner update?
For you guys today, I have a couple updates here. On the preserve, they conducted a water test, and we're going to discuss that with Bolton and Mink. We're just waiting on results for that and before they move forward. Regarding the laundromat guy, Jonathan is trying to fix an issue with the equipment manufacturer and is unable to move forward. Regarding the Casey site, just talking to Trailstat, he's still too busy to move forward with the concept or anything with that proposal. We are going to have something potentially next month with the Overson development. Kent Pfeiffer originally had final platted a property just above Rosehaven Apartments. That's for 12 twin homes. We as a staff discussed that, and we were decided to honor the preliminary plat. So he'll be moving forward with a final plat for that for your guys' consideration. The only thing is he needs to talk with Bolton and Mink regarding the utilities that were already put in the ground. And also, there was a wetland in the past, and that just needs to be discussed to figure out what the issue is with that. At the O'Brother site, I've talked to Greg Dungan about a subway. He's interested in moving forward with that. He just needs to put through a CUP because he wants to have a drive-through. So we just need to have the details of how the drive-through is going to work and come to you guys, well, through Planning Commission and then through you guys for a CUP for a drive-through there. Regarding Red's Cafe, they are making improvements to the site and they are wanting to potentially come to you guys with kind of like a CUP to allow for, it might be a CUP, it might be something else, but they want to have a green site on there, or what do I want to say, a vegetable garden. So they might have to have multiple buildings onto that site, and so they would just need permission. We're trying to figure that out in the moment. And then next month, the Planning Commission is going to be meeting to talk about, I believe, sidewalk maintenance and repair responsibility, who would be in charge of that, and also a change for the parking pads. Just some things in that ordinance need to be changed, just so we make sure that legality of that, especially regarding neighbors giving approval. And then I believe you also just wanted to discuss making the requirements a little bit easier for people to pull permits. And so that's what I have for updates on that. If you have any questions, just let me know.
What was the thing about the vegetable garden? Where was that?
So I mean greenhouse. So he might want to have multiple buildings on the site, and so we just need to figure out what his concept is as far as what would be and what wouldn't be allowed. Because he would have the kitchen, well, the restaurant there, and then I believe he would have 2 vegetable stands and also a greenhouse, and just figuring out what's the accessory use, what's not, and then kind of what's allowed and not allowed. But obviously we're going to work with him to get it, and we just need to figure out what we're going to do for that.
Okay, thank you.
Dan, is it an actual restaurant or just like a canning facility? I understood they were just going to do canning there.
I mean, he's very early in the process, so I don't really know how much he's going to share. But to my knowledge, it was just he might have somebody interested who wants to open a breakfast restaurant, and then in the afternoon and evening, he would be giving that to a nonprofit to use the kitchen, I think it was. Okay. Or maybe that's what you're talking about with the canning and stuff like that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no more questions, then city engineer, status of CASA 60.
Good evening, Mayor Council. The first item in your packet this evening is relative to the Wright County agreement for the potential downtown improvement project. Ultimately, what this agreement does is it outlines the funding participation, and in addition, it provides for the turnback of the county road to the city following construction of the improvement. So just by way of reference, CASA 60 is Center Avenue South and 2nd Street South within the downtown improvement project area. Ultimately, staff has reviewed it, the city attorney has reviewed it, and the recommendation before you this evening is to authorize the mayor, city administrator, city attorney, and city engineer to execute the agreement, subject to any final city attorney comments. So with that, Mayor, Council, I'll answer any questions that you might have regarding this item.
We do have kind of final approval from the city attorney as well as Wright County on this as well, so.
So we just need a motion to approve the funding participation?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the funding participation for CASA 60.
I will second.
Further discussion? David?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Nicole?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
And I'll vote yes, motion passes 5-0. Back to you again, Jared.
All right. Second item in your packet this evening is relative to some potential funding options for drinking water improvement projects. My memo outlines this, but ultimately, there's been discussions in the past about the potential for water treatment plant improvements. I think as early as 2016, that was discussed by the council at the time. At that time, council put the project on what is referred to as the project priority list, which is a list that the Public Facilities Authority, Minnesota PFA, utilizes to rank projects and assign funding. Since that list is, or since that project has been placed on the list, the costs obviously have increased, and ultimately the request here before council this evening is whether or not we should update those numbers and continue to put it on the PPL and the IUP. Being on the list doesn't obligate anybody to anything. However, not being on the list does not qualify or allow the city to pursue that type of funding. So it would be our recommendation that staff be authorized to pursue that application. Basically, it's just updating the application that's already existing. Second item, there has been some discussion about potential bond funding through the state legislature for potential projects. There is a process associated with that through MMB, and there's an application for that as well. So ultimately, there's two different funding mechanisms that are being brought before you this evening. Again, it doesn't obligate the city to anything, but you definitely need to go through the process if funding is desired for any of those types of improvements. So our recommendation is that you authorize city staff to complete the appropriate applications for funding purposes.
Well, I'll make a motion to go ahead and, it's basically a reapplication, Jared?
Yeah, so for the Public Facilities Authority portion, it'd be the PPL and IUP, and then for the bonding, it would be through MMB.
Okay. We're in three-letter acronym town here tonight. Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and make a motion to go ahead and reapply for funding, both the PPL and the other ones that you mentioned then.
I will second.
Further discussion on the motion? Sam?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
I'll vote yes. Nicole?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Do you know what the process is for the MMB? I know that when I talked to State Senator Anderson, he had kind of outlined it. Are we on track for some of those requirements to be looked at for possible state bonding bill money?
Yeah, I believe the application process is required, or the application is required to be submitted by mid-June. So with your action a couple of seconds ago, we'll be on track for that.
Perfect. And then they come out in it's like July or August, he said, right? And then they review everything?
Yes, so there's a process that they use. I know last year there was a pretty large tour that occurred. All the potential bonding projects were reviewed by the legislators. Some, I am familiar with a couple communities that were not on the tour and were funded, so the tour doesn't necessarily guarantee funding, but it's part of their process that they like to utilize so that they see the projects prior to voting on them. Yep.
Thanks, Jared. Public Works updates?
Mayor and Council, I'd like to discuss the, we had 3 applications for the compost site. And I sat down with each one of them And I'd like to recommend Jerome Platt to start tomorrow.
Could you say the name one more time?
Jerome Platt, he lives in town here somewhere.
I will make a motion to hire Jerome to watch the compost site.
I'll second.
Further discussion? David?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Nicole?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
And I'll vote yes, motion passes 5-0.
Okay, he's gonna work 12 hours a week, starting out. Tuesdays, 48, Thursdays, 48, and Saturdays, 10 to 2. And we can adjust those times if we need to.
And that'll start opening tomorrow, April 13th.
Correct.
At 4 o'clock.
Correct.
Okay.
And then the last week of April and the first week of May, we're gonna flush hydrants, weather permitting. And then we discussed it earlier, we were gonna start on Forest Creek Park this week, weather permitting, it's kind of wet. We're gonna dig everything up if we go in there now, but first part of next week, hopefully. And that's all I have.
Do you have a formal drawing on that, Wayne?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good.
Questions for Wayne? There's no old business, new business, citywide cleanup day.
We just wanted to discuss, since we are no longer using Randy's sanitation, we will be giving away the 2 free items this year for cleanup day. However, Ms. Manson talked to the auditors today about what we can do with the money that's kind of left over in our garbage fund. If you want to address that, Wendy.
So now that Randy's will be collecting money and we no longer will be, we have some funding or some money still sitting in our garbage fund from over the course of a number of years. According to our auditors, we can keep it in there for the rest of this year, use it for cleanup day, compost site, whatever we need, and then by the end of the year, we should close that fund out, and any money that's remaining in it, we can transfer to like our capital improvement fund and use it for whatever we need. Wayne wants a new truck. A new plow truck. So we'll be closing that fund out, but we will be using the money that's there throughout the year for the compost site and the cleanup day.
Okay.
And you said that there will be the 2 items for residents with their utility bill, or do they contact Randy's or City Hall to have items picked up on the curb?
For cleanup day, you would contact City Hall, contact Christy. She can get that all set up for you.
I don't know exactly, it's right around 230,000 or 210,000, something like that. But once we get through the compost site for the summer and cleanup day, we'll look at how much is left after that.
Any more discussion? Okay, proclamation. The proclamation says, whereas the American Occupational Therapy Association has declared the month of April 2021 to be known as Occupational Therapy Month. Whereas the profession of occupational therapy makes valuable contributions in helping people through hospitals, home health agencies, schools, clinics, and nursing homes. Whereas the health and productivity of our citizens depend upon the effective use of healthcare resources, including the important services of occupational therapists and occupational therapy assistants. Now, therefore, the Montrose City Council do hereby proclaim the month of April 2021 as Occupational Therapy Month and call upon all citizens to recognize the achievements and contributions of these valued health professionals. Okay, upcoming meetings. Planning and Zoning Commission meets this Wednesday, April 14th, 7 p.m. EDA meets April 20th at 12 p.m. Park and Rec is 2BD. That will be a joint city council meeting. And then the next city council meeting will be May 10th, 7 p.m. Acknowledgements. I said it in the newsletter, and I'll say it again too, just acknowledging Deb for, her work that she did here over the last 3 years. City staff always appreciated the work that you guys put in. It's not always easy, and sometimes we can be a little demanding on the council. And as always, the fire department, the sheriff's department, and the acknowledging the National Guard and just keeping them in our thoughts and prayers as they're dealing with the unrest in the cities.
I'd like to acknowledge the citizens again for coming out and voicing their opinions. Appreciate it.
I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Johnny Olson. I think his attitude is a bright spot that I think this town needs, and I think that we can all take a lesson from. And I'd also like to acknowledge all the neighbors of the Steamboat area for coming out and telling us what you need.
I'll make motion to adjourn.
I will second.
Sam?
Aye.
Tom? Aye. I'll vote yes. Nicole? Aye. David?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. We're adjourned.
Coming around on some clouds.
Well, he's so, what's that?
Signing that, passing it down.